Hi there, my name is Toby, and today I'm continuing to talk about the ether and the shamanic universe. This is a different idea about the universe, how it all works. And I'm talking about both metaphysics and physics, the soul, the spirit, consciousness, as well as the body and the material world. Both of these things must be included in this science. And I want to talk a bit more about life. And really what I'm saying is there is only biogenesis. And biogenesis just means life emerging from other life. So life can only emerge from itself. It means there's no initial creation of life. Again, very deep. I talk about the universe as a steady state universe. It also means that means there's no beginning, no end. It's a continuous universe. And it also means it's the same for life. There's no beginning and there's no end to life. So there's no spontaneous genesis of life. No initial moment where life emerged. It's always here, always been here. So there's only this biogenesis, life emerging from other life, a continuous flow of life. The universe is simply ether, one single substance, a pure fluid. And this fluid has different densities. And these different levels or different densities within the fluid create all manifestations, including life. So the highest level, or the softest fluid, the lightest density is the soul, the mind, consciousness, thought energy. And the heaviest, the densest, is the body, material substance. Very simple, very simple. And then everything else in between. Now, life is interesting because I've talked about the universe in terms of creation of an atom, how we build the foundations of matter, material substance, that is atoms. But how do we organize them? You see, life is a process of organization. All these atoms are getting together. They're doing specific tasks. We've got to create biological material. How does that happen? Consciousness must organize them somehow. There must be a process of organization. And I'm saying that we live in a steady state universe. Okay, it's very, very difficult to comprehend this. That means there is no beginning and no end. It's just continuous. And this, again, it's not a new idea. This goes back to many ancient philosophies, Hinduism, Buddhism, shamanism. The idea of a cycle of time. It just goes round and round and round. There's no beginning, no end. It's infinite. But it's not so much a cycle as a spiral. It's always new, always different. Again, it's based on the mathematics of the golden ratio, which I'll talk about in time. But what it means is there is no Big Bang. There's no creation moment for the universe. It was always here. It's the chicken and the egg problem. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? You see, if you say the universe was created, then you've got to say, well, what was there before? What was happening before the universe was created? For infinite time before the creation, what was going on? You can't say that. So the chicken and the egg problem is that. So the solution, and there is only one solution, is to say that both the chicken and the egg were always here. And it's the same for life. There's no creation moment of life. The whole universe is made of this life energy. The ether is the life force, the chi, the prana. That is the organizational force that creates life, the animating force. So, of course, there is life. It's always here because the ether is always here, the universe is always here. So that means life was always here. Both the chicken and the egg were always here. We don't need to think about when was life created. No. All we can talk about is the science, the process of how it is being continuously created. There's a process of growth happening. So we're talking about this process of growth, but there's no first growth. It's always been here. This process has always been here. Now you can step outside space and time. You can go to a place where there is no time, is no space. But then there's no chicken and no egg. But when you come here, immediately there is both a chicken and an egg. So we're talking about it in a different way. It's not an obvious way. So that means life is always here. There's no evolution, just variations on a theme. And the theme is the golden ratio mathematics, a particular proportionality and efficiency of design. You see, this humanoid morphology is a particular efficient design. And it's the most efficient design. I would argue this is the most efficient design. That's why we've got it. So all self-aware conscious beings are going to be basically humanoid because it's the most efficient design. So you can have variations on that theme. And again, every single one of us is different. We're all the same, but we're all different. That's the mathematics of the golden ratio. Variations on a theme. That's how the universe works. Now the soul is thought energy, or primarily thought energy, the lightest density of the ether. So it's low energy, does not have much power. So thought energy cannot physically move atoms. But thought energy can move slightly denser energy. It can compact. It can move into etheric energy, emotional energy. So that's a bit more powerful. And that can compact a bit more. We can do a bit more, compact that into light. Light is a bit more powerful. And light is also moving towards objective reality. We can all see light. Light is powerful enough to have some physical effects. Etheric energy, thought energy, so slight we can't really have any direct physical effects. But the light body, you see that the thought energy can move into the etheric energy that can move into light energy. So the soul can impart information, instructions. So there can be instructions in the light energy. Instructions means a variation in a movement in the pressure, a modulation of the pressure, a frequency. Information can be imparted through a frequency, but don't get me wrong here, this is not electromagnetism. No, it's not a transverse wave. This is a pressure wave in the ether. It's like you turn the light on and off, you're creating a pulse of light going out. Morse code. You're imparting information by turning a light bulb on and off. You're creating a pulsation in light. So the soul, the mind, can do this, create information or impart information into light. And light can also compact into electromagnetism, which can condense into the heavier energy, plasma. And again, I've talked about this in the previous lectures. Plasma is where you then create atoms. So step by step, we can create an influence. We can influence directly the atoms to create some biological materials. But it's very interesting because the biological material must be already here. It's not created. You see, for life, we need DNA. DNA is the smallest particle or design that is required for life. But DNA must be inside a cell. So we must also have a cell. So that is the building block. That is the fundamental building block for life. just like the atom is the fundamental building block for material substance. Both come from the ether. But now a cell is again like a little bubble, but it's a bubble of conscious energy. It's got its own consciousness. It's a bubble of conscious energy that is imparting information into light. And that light is in turn imparting information into the atoms. And the atoms can then be organized. Now, it's so difficult to understand this because there is no creation of the cell. The cell is always here. It's never been created. Just like the humanoid morphology is always here. Never been created. It's always been here. It's a design. A perfect, mathematical, efficient design for consciousness. And a cell is the fundamental building block for a body. So it's the same principle. A cell is like a little soul. It's its own little life form in its own right. Tiny little soul. But it's very simple. So it's not exactly, you wouldn't call it intelligent. But it's got just enough intelligence to organize the atoms, hold them together, hold the biological material in suspension. There's just enough control to do that. Now, what's interesting is in our body, it's made up of microbes, bacteria. You see, we've got cells, but in order to have life, we must have mitochondria. It's another type of organism. We need both cells and mitochondria. And the mitochondria live inside our cells in symbiosis. That's how we digest food. We eat food, but the mitochondria eat the food, and then they give us energy, and they give us another product called ADT, adenosine triphosphate, particular chemical that our cells eat. So there's a symbiosis. This is what makes it very interesting now. Very interesting. Life is organization. We are organizing billions and trillions of microorganisms, microbes, into a body. And they are growing this body. We're all working together. It's an organization. And they say now 95% of the cells in our body are these microbes. So the majority are these independent microorganisms in our body. It's not us. Only a certain amount go to make our internal organs, go to make our skeleton. So we have a basic structure, but around that structure are these trillions and trillions of little microorganisms all working together. And what holds them together is a bigger consciousness, a soul. So I am a bubble of thought energy, a bubble of etheric energy, powerful enough to have self-awareness and to create enough power in my etheric energy to influence light, to create a light body. This light body will hold together all these trillions of microorganisms, and it tells them what to do. So we're just a big collective, an organization of living things working together. And all of life is like this. The whole universe works like this. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Life is intrinsic to everything. Every single atom is still made of this life energy. Think about it. The only way we can ever have any movement in the universe is with consciousness. Life or consciousness has to create movement. There is nothing else, repeat, nothing else that creates movement. Everything else is entropic. It's just moving autonomously on its way back to rest. The energy is just dissipating. It's calming down, settling down, stopping. Only consciousness comes in and gets something moving. Consciousness is moving this body. When consciousness leaves or separates from the atoms, they are just left to entropy. The energy will just dissipate, crumble. All the microorganisms will separate. They'll go their separate ways. Most of them will just pass away as well. All the energy will just dissipate away. But it's consciousness itself that creates anything at all. This whole universe is consciousness. It creates everything. It creates the first visualization of geometry. It creates space. It creates the ether. That is the ether, space. But within space there is movement of a fluid, or rather there is pressure within the fluid that is moving. Now we have all different manifestations. But consciousness has to influence and organize all these different aspects of the ether to create life. It's a process of organization. Very deep. There is an animating force in the universe. That is consciousness. And the two functions, or the two dynamics of consciousness are imagination and mathematics. Imagination means infinite variety, always spontaneous, creative. Mathematics means it must follow the laws of manifest reality. In actual fact, it must follow the laws of growth, the mathematics of the golden ratio. So when we understand that we are organizing this body, and life is all connected, we are in a web of connections. All living beings are connected, just like the Force in Star Wars. Then we can communicate, we can empathize, with animals, with other humans. It's quite easy, not a big deal. And we can heal our body. We can balance out the microbes in our body. We can tell them what to do. We can program the DNA. Consciousness is programming the DNA. The DNA is built to receive the subtle information coming from thought energy. It's thought energy condensed into etheric energy, condensed into light, is going into the DNA and programming it. Then the DNA knows what to do and replicates the cellular structures. But together with that, we're also collecting all the microbes, all the bacteria. We're working hand in hand. We need mitochondria. They're a separate thing altogether. All life, all these little different life forms are still like a fluid. They're particles, microbes, but like water. Water is still particles, water molecules. We can think of this as living fluid. A fluid of these microbes. We're feeling the energy, life energy of living things, living beings. We're feeling the trees, the plants. We're feeling the animals. We're feeling the birds. We're feeling the insects in the ground. All of this is the life force. We connect to it. And this is how we build it. We build more life energy. We focus it into our body, concentrate it. It is thought energy condensing. It is willpower. It is imagination and mathematics turned inwards to create yourself. And it is bringing the force in, harmony. All the little microbes, come on. Let's all get together and build a healthy body. So I hope this made sense. Please do check out the whole of this lecture series. It's called Aether and the Shamanic Universe. And I go through this step by step. It seems complex, but it is simple. It is simple at the end of the day, and I will be summarising at the end of this lecture series. So it will end soon. It's not an infinite one. So thank you so much for watching. Please do leave any questions or comments, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.